My name is Benny Green. In October 2019, I moved my whole life to Thailand to improve myself for the better. This is my story. So I started training Muay Thai at the end of 2017 at the age of 26. A few months into training Muay Thai, I wasn't actually very interested in fighting or competing. I just wanted to do it for self-defense and physical fitness only. I was also doing music at the time, so I didn't really have the time to commit to train for a fight. So a few months into the training, the gym I was staying at the time, Fire Gym in Reading, I was organising a trip to Thailand, which really caught my eye. There was a few people that already had travelled to Thailand, and I asked them about it. They said it was a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and it's definitely worth going. So I started planning my trip. I'd be going for 1 week in September. It ended up being the best thing that I've ever done. The first thing I remember, just getting off the plane, just how hot it was. I never felt anything like it before. It was so humid in Thailand. And the first night there, I just remember walking to the shop and walking back. I was just so sweaty, I couldn't believe how hot it was. It really took me by surprise. I was just thinking, how am I going to survive the training for the next week? But I did it in the end anyway. I ended up doing quite well, actually. Any week holidays, it just flew by. It just went so fast. I got a good feel of the place. I was getting into the training. The gym I was staying at, Tiger Muay Thai, they didn't just do Muay Thai, they did a bit of everything like boxing, wrestling, BJJ. So I had to go at everything else, like the wrestling, the boxing, but mostly the Muay Thai. And yeah, the training was good. The trainers there really pushed me past my limit. I just remember the last night there, it was Saturday. The night when I was in my hotel room, I just started crying. I was just so sad to go back. I just didn't want to leave the place. Thailand was just a place I fell in love with, and I never wanted to leave. So soon after coming back to the UK for my first trip to Thailand for 1 week, I started planning my next trip, like straight away. This time I'd be staying for a few weeks, maybe 3 weeks to a month. So it was the end of 2018. I was going through some problems with the band, and my music career was coming to an end. And I ended up being let go from the last band I played in. Also, I was engaged at the time, and fortunately we went separate ways and we wanted different things. I was starting to change, and I was starting to take my training more seriously, and I just wanted to go off to Thailand and potentially start fighting. And that's what happened. So it was the beginning of 2019 where I did my first interclub. It was actually at the gym I'm training at now. That was the academy. I didn't do too badly. It was a lot to learn. And just one thing I remember was how bad my cardio was. I never really ran before that, and I wasn't training religiously like I am now. And it was a good starting point. And I'll be doing another interclub like soon after that. I think it was around February or March 2019, I did my second interclub. This time I had a few improvements, but still room for plenty more improvements. I was taking notes as well to see what was good and what needs improving, and just carried on training, carried on improving. So it was April 2019. This time I'd be staying at Tiger Muay Thai for 4 weeks. I was really getting into the training. My physical fitness and my Muay Thai technique was improving a hell of a lot. I was learning more there in that 4 weeks than I would do in like maybe a year's time. And I was taking note of everything I was learning as well. So really trying to take in as much as I can and learn all the skills that I can get in and just make the most out of it. So it was like I think it was the second week I was there. They got a poster set up for me. It was the 23rd of April, I believe. I'll be fighting. So I had a week or two to get ready. This time I'd be taking my training to the next level, no holding back. This would be my first professional fight, no shin guards, elbows to the face, full Thai rules. So I really had to prepare myself and no messing around. I had to go all in and make my move and see what happens. I was doing the one-on-ones with one of the coaches. I remember him just giving me 3 10-minute rounds, which really took it out of me. But it did improve a lot of my cardio, my fitness, and overall technique, which is good. So it's what I needed. That's actually where my running journey began. So the training was I'd be running in the morning and doing the Muay Thai class about 8 a.m. and maybe doing another class in between. Then I'd do another Muay Thai class in the afternoon. That's how the training was. So it was the day of my first fight, and I was really nervous, scared, but also excited at the same time. When any of you fight, you know the feeling. So we got there, and the person I was fighting saw me. What happened was his coach got me to stand next to him, and I thought it wasn't a fair match because I was a lot taller. He was probably like just up to my shoulder or maybe a bit smaller, but he was also a beginner as well. He only probably had like 5 or 6 fights, and I'm just there with like no fights. So I thought maybe it was a fair match, but their coach just wasn't having any of it. So they put me with someone else. What happened was I actually ended up fighting his coach, his trainer. This time, just making me even more nervous than I already was. I didn't want to hold back because I flew all this way, and I'm going to fight whatever's in front of me, no matter what happens. So I just remember watching the fight before mine and just seeing bloodshed all over the ring. Just me sitting there thinking, like, what the hell have I got myself into? It was a crazy time. That's probably the craziest thing about that fight. So just before the fight began, he was doing the Y crew for a good few minutes. I was just standing there shaking and really nervous, just thinking, what am I doing here? Probably the most nervous part of my life. So the first round began. We were just filling each other out with the jabs, the teep. He was getting me with a few low kicks. He got me good a few times with the low kicks on my left side, and it was really starting to hurt. I feel like I had more strength than him. I was a little bit stronger in the clinch. Obviously, he's going to be a lot better on the outside. I feel like if I put my strength on him, like just tie him up and get him in the clinch, I might have the upper hand. I think it was round 3 or 4 where he got me with a really hard low kick that nearly put me down. And I did everything I could to stand up. Luckily, he didn't throw any more low kicks after that. I think if there was one more low kick, I might have just thrown the towel and gave up. In round 4, I was getting really tired, starting to drop my hands and like throw less power on the punches and my attacks not being as effective. Around 5, for some reason, he just stopped fighting me, and I was just wondering, why is he not fighting? Why is he backing off? Why is he not throwing any low kicks, and why does he keep moving backwards? Why am I doing all the attacking? Like, is something happening there? But what I learned was shortly after that is that the Thais, they don't really fight in the last round. So rounds 1 and 2 are supposed to be like a warm-up, and rounds 3 and 4 is when they actually go full on, try and kill each other. Then by round 5, then they should know. They usually know who's won the fight, so they don't really bother. They just want to finish and get their money and go home, and that's what he did. So he got the decision, and I lost on points. It was a good fight for a first time. I wasn't too disappointed in myself. I was still quite happy about it. I didn't get seriously injured, so it was kind of a lose-win situation. So I just remember the morning after my first fight, the whole of this leg was pitch black and just a massive bruise everywhere. I could barely walk. I was still aching all over the place, but mainly this leg was really beaten up. It was a good fight, and I was looking forward to doing it again. So it was the end of April 2019. I went back to the UK. This time I made the decision to stay over there for potentially 1 year. So I was getting everything sorted out back in the UK. I was just like planning my trip, getting my visa sorted, just selling everything that I could, selling all the music gear that I owned, just selling my DVDs, all my clothes, everything I had, just trying to get as much money as I could, sorting out my visas and everything. It was taking a good few months, and it was a bit of a headache. Also, just remembering how nervous I was about doing this, because before that, I've never actually left my house. I've never actually left home before for about 28 years. So it was a massive step up, moving to another country instead of first moving to another house or moving out of my parents' house. So yeah, real step up. So my visa came, I think it was about August or September of 2019. I had a visa sorted out for staying for 1 year from October of 2019, and I was all set to go and I was all ready. This was it. There was nothing holding me back. Let's go off to Thailand for 1 year and see how I do. So it was October of 2019 where I'd be staying for 1 year this time, and this time getting ready for some pro fights. But before I got into that, I wanted to do the Barbecue Beatdown, maybe do one fight there. My training schedule was something like I'd wake up at 5:30 in the morning, do a 12-kilometer run at like 6 a.m. I'd be finished at 7 a.m. for a shower, then go do a Muay Thai class at 8 a.m. for 2 hours. After that, it was another Muay Thai class at 3 p.m. After that, I'd maybe do like some yoga before sleep, and I was doing that every day, like 6 days a week. Sunday was my only day off to recover and trying to get as much sleep as possible, maybe 9 to 10 hours. So I think it was my second or third week there. I was getting ready for the Barbecue Beatdown. I'd be fighting this Chinese guy. I think he was a little bit heavier than me. I could tell he was a little bit experienced. I just remember looking at him. He was very intimidating looking. He was very muscly, and I could tell he's been doing this for a while. And I thought, yeah, this is probably going to be a hard fight. I just remember like throwing kicks, and he would just grab it and throw me about. Starting to think like, how am I going to beat this guy? He's a lot stronger. He's more experienced. Luckily, I had Johnny in my corner at the time. He gave me some really good pointers. He didn't want me to worry about kicks too much or punching. Just wanted me to clinch and knee as much as I can. You knew if I got him in a clinch, I would have the upper hand. That's what I did in the second round. I just remember having him in the clinch, and every time I lifted up my knee, I just had the crowd go do that noise, like that hey noise. Unfortunately, in just the beginning of the third round, he caught me with a massive head kick. For the rest of that round, I could only see out of one eye, and it was very awkward. I had to try and like finish the fight with just one eye. It was a bit of a funny one, but I was trying to get him in the clinch again where I had the upper hand. I knew if I stayed on the outside, he might get the better of me. So I was doing what I can to get on the inside, get him in the clinch and hold him there as long as possible. By the end of the third round, I wasn't sure if I won it or not. I knew for a fact I won the second round. In the first round, it might have been a draw. I'm pretty sure that he won the last round, but the whole fight ended up being a draw. And I just remember the ref putting my hand up. I was just so relieved that I didn't walk out there with a silver medal. And it was a good fight. So I was resting for a few days after that, and that's actually when I started my yoga journey. So I was doing the active recovery, just going to the yoga classes. So yeah, I took a few days or the rest of the week to recover, and then straight back into the Muay Thai training. So I was still training religiously, like 6 days a week, 4 times a day. It was like that for the next month or two. So I said to one of the trainers that I was interested in fighting, and they got something sorted out for me in December of 2019. So they took my photo and they got a poster sorted out a few days later, and I was all set for another professional fight. This time I'll be fighting a Thai guy who was a little bit more experienced. I'm not sure exactly how many fights he had. So it was a few moments before my fight, and I was just feeling ready. There was nothing holding me back. I was really feeling like I can do this. I just remember thinking to myself, I need to give it 100%. Just go out there, and it's going to be kill or be killed. And I had to knock him out or get knocked out trying. So we just got straight into the fight. Round 1 started. We were just feeling each other out. I was just getting used to the jabs and maybe getting in the clinch. He was really trying to get me with his elbows. I noticed he was a good elbow fighter. When I had him in a clinch, he wouldn't throw any knees for some reason. At the beginning of the first round, he got me with a really good hook to the face. I think he might have broken my nose. He was really starting to rush me. He was getting the upper hand, and just remember trying to slam my shin on him as hard as I could. I wasn't holding anything back. So he came rushing at me again in the second round. My right shin was starting to hurt a little bit, so I wasn't sure if I should throw any more kicks. Maybe just work on the punches, try and get him in a clinch. Another thing as well, I didn't really know how to use these. I didn't have much experience with the elbows. So it was near the end of the second round. He had me against the ropes. I got on the outside. I remember getting him with a good side kick to the face. And I was trying to rush back at him with the punches and the kicks. And he had me in the corner again, trying to get me with the low kicks. Just remember him threw a right hook, or maybe it was a right cross. Just remember getting out of the way. I was trying to set up for a left hook, but what happened was I actually ended up sticking my right hand out, which was only supposed to be a setup for a left hook, but it was the right hand that actually ended up knocking him out. I thought he was going to get up and we were going to continue fighting, but that's not what happened. I actually ended up winning the fight, and it was the best feeling in the world. I never thought knocking someone out would feel so good after that, but yeah, it just felt amazing. I just remember a few days later, I think it was a week later, watching the fight on YouTube and just seeing how I did. It was a good experience. So I carried on with the training. I was sticking to the training plan, like 6 days a week, Muay Thai twice a day, still doing the running and a bit of yoga as well. So my next fight was going to be in February of 2020. And I actually ended up fighting the same guy. He wanted a rematch. So it was the day of my last fight in Thailand. I was fighting the same guy again. Just before that, I think it was the day before the fight, I wanted to learn how to do the Y crew. And that's what I did. So I was doing the Y crew before the fight, a few minutes. It was a good warm up as well before the fight, like get myself ready and set to go. And it felt good. So the fight began. First round was going slow. Just like any other normal fight, we were just feeling each other out, getting used to the jabs and the teeps, trying to get him in the clinch. And this time he was really trying to get me with the elbows. I noticed in that fight he was throwing a lot of elbows, really trying to slice my head open. But luckily I had the reach advantage, so he didn't manage to catch me with the elbows. I remember having him good on the outside. I could tell my punching skills definitely improved a hell of a lot. I was getting him with a lot of punches. I remember in the third round, what I did was I threw a kick. And I set it up for a spinning back fist. And I thought that was going to knock him out. But it actually didn't. He actually carried on going for the rest of round 3 and round 4. But I actually ended up knocking him out again in round 4. What happened was I lifted up for a knee. And then I got him with I think it was a left hook, and I actually put him down. And I won the fight again. It was an incredible feeling. I felt really good about myself. I was really starting to feel confident. Like, I'm turning into a winner now, getting my winning ways. It's like, everybody pay attention to me now, because I'm going after everything now. The morning after the fight, I just remember my knee was really hurting, and it took me by surprise because I couldn't even walk on this knee. It was really swollen up and really bruised. And I thought there was something wrong with it. Turns out I actually broke my kneecap in that fight. Obviously, I needed to take a break from fighting and let it recover. Fortunately for me, it was the same time that COVID happened. So it actually worked out perfectly. It looked like everything kind of fell into place at the right time. So everything happens for a reason. It gave me the opportunity to just focus on my healing and see the beauty of Thailand as well. So I got to see some of the islands over there. Went to Koh Phangan and Koh Samui, stayed for a few nights, and really got a good feel of the place. Just seeing some of the amazing islands, it was something like I've never seen before. So all the gyms were shut and I couldn't really train to fight anymore, but I was still keeping up with my training and my fitness and trying to stay ready for when the gyms and stadiums do open for fighting again. So at the time, I was fortunate enough to stay with my girlfriend at the time. I was staying with her for the next 6 months during COVID. It was from March 2020 till the middle of October 2020 was when I was staying there because I wanted to do the 1 year non-negotiable. None of the gyms were being open and there was still no fights going on. It was around September, October 2020, and unfortunately I had to make the hard decision of returning back to the UK. When I got back, it felt really weird, like being back here, like seeing Puffs next to the road again. That was really weird seeing that, and just being back with my family. I was back with my mum for a few months, so it was really good to see her again, see my brothers, and I just remembered also being a bit colder as well. It was a lot colder over here than back in Thailand. So yeah, it was a strange feeling. Also hard times as well, still during COVID, and it would be hard to get back into the swing of things. So everything I went through in that year, it ended up being the best year that I ever had. All the sacrifices, all the injuries, everything I went through made me a better person mentally and physically, and I wouldn't change it for the world. I started my running journey, started doing yoga. I actually became sober as well, so I stopped the alcohol. I just saw life in a new perspective. There's a lot more to life than just living for the weekend, going out, getting drunk, like how I used to be. Now I can just focus on my training, getting better and improving myself. And also, I like to carry on inspiring others to do the same. I'm Benny Green. This is my story. I hope that I've inspired someone. Thank you.